are back. Your favorites. We are back again. Hope you've missed us since last week.
I'm sure they have.
I am your host, Tori Jae, and I'm joined by the magnificent
Taste ID Starseed. Thanks, Tori. How you doing, bro? What's going on?
I'm doing okay. I'm relaxed. Had a great day. Nice chill day. Yeah. How about you?
I mean, yeah, it's been good. I've been relaxing too. I've been chilling. I've been feeling really good recently. Yeah, there's been a lot of like expelling of energy, but in the same time, I'm feeling good. You know what I mean? I'm feeling good for it. So, yeah.
Good. I love to hear that. You know, it's funny because one of the main reasons I wanted to get into this topic today, ladies, we're talking about colorism. But one of the main reasons I wanted to get into this topic today was because I feel like I've had this conversation. I've had it a million times before, but recently I've had it several times. And it's always bothered me. But I just feel like it's just something we need to really try to get to the root of so we can heal from the issues and not be victims of it and not allow it to dictate our realities. You know what I mean? So I had this conversation with a friend of mine. And she was talking about the different options of men out here and how there's not a lot of great options of men. And your options are even slimmer if you're a brown girl or a darker skinned girl. And she proceeds to tell me, you know, it's even more difficult because the men, if you don't have your body done and you're brown and you're like brown skin, they're not looking at you. If you don't have a certain kind of hair and you're brown skin or darker, they're not looking at you, you know? So, and I told her, well, who cares? Who cares what they're looking at? The guy that, if that's something you want, the guy that's meant for you or the guy that you're going to connect with on that level will appreciate you and value you for who you are. He'll value you because he understands that you're a black woman. He understands what that means, what we all are like. You know, we're all so unique. We all have different textures of hair. We all have different shades, skin tone. So she was saying, no, you know, like it's easy for you to say that. And she said it's easy for me to say that because of my hair, because my hair texture is different than her hair texture. And I said, no. I said, excuse me, but I said, fuck my hair. I said, I wouldn't care regardless of what my hair looked like. Yeah. I was like, imagine me allowing myself to feel like that based on what these simple-minded people are thinking about me when they are black, and they should understand that. You know, like, where does that mindset come from? Yeah. Where do we get that from?
It's the European.
At the very least, I feel like if you get down to that root and you understand where we get that colonized as mindset, then you have to know that that's not of us. That's not our energy. You have to like reject that shit, and you have to accept yourself. And when you accept yourself, you really get comfortable with saying like fuck everybody else and how they feel about me, my hair, or my body, or whatever it is, my skin tone.
You know? Yeah.
Like,
and you ask yourself as well, like seriously, you know, like we were mentioning earlier. Obviously, the way we've been programmed, the way society kind of builds us up, we constantly seek external validation. So obviously coming as somebody, like I said earlier, who battled with a lot of, you know, seeking external validation and wanting to be validated by people who didn't like me, essentially, you know. So I get it when, as women particularly, we're like, oh, but this person doesn't like me, and you feel worthless because of it. But realistically, again, it goes down to, okay, this person clearly has a lot of issues, self-hate issues as well, you know, but why do I want this person when they don't want me? Okay, this man doesn't like me. He doesn't like me because I'm brown skin. Why do I now feel worthless because he does not like me? Who is he? Why have I given him or them, outsiders, so much power over my feelings of worthlessness? Again, like I said, I get it because we do that. Society has taught us to receive validations from outside, and how much I'm praised outside validates me, but it's incorrect. You know, like Jazz said earlier, there's always going to be people who value you for who you are. So if you are around people, what if anything, I find that if I'm around men who, and it's a problem, a real problem within the community, who are making these sort of comments constantly, or I feel this way around, I'm just not going to be around you. I don't want a man like you. Instead of letting it affect my self-esteem and my self-worth and thinking, oh man, I want him to want me. I don't want you. If you think like that, I don't want you. If you don't see the beauty in my natural hair, if you don't see the beauty in my skin color, if you don't see the beauty in my essence as a black woman, I beg, Oga, go and find ambiguous woman that you want. Go and find a woman with type 3A hair. Go and find a light-skinned woman. I don't care. You no longer control me. I don't want you. Because I had to ask myself, why do you do that? They're not the be-all and end-all. You know, they don't prefer you. That's fine. You don't have to prefer me. I'm going to find somebody who prefers me. And I know it's hurtful as black women, especially because this is our own, you know, and this is not the kind of dynamics that you normally have naturally in nature and amongst species. It's not, you don't really, the rejection from your own can be painful, but we have a unique history, and it's time we start to heal. And in order to heal, we really need to understand that we don't need their validation. You can't expect other people to be responsible for your healing. You know, even if they're not acting in a way in which we find favorable, you have to act in a way which is favorable for yourself.
Right. That's the realest thing.
And I hear it a lot. Like, I hear the colorism.
You have to honor yourself in that way.
Yeah. And even sometimes I guess it kind of shocks me because obviously I'm a light-skinned woman. It doesn't shock me. I'm aware of it. Like I grew up I'm black. So even though I'm light-skinned, I'm in the community. So I hear it regularly. I hear comments from the other side, you know, like, oh my God, your skin color. Oh my God. Like it's commented on so much, and it just always makes me think like, wow, in this day and age, like we still have this deep complex with skin color. Yes. So many of us are still so deeply unhappy with our skin color. And it still all just comes from, it's just what we think is beautiful. And it's so sad because we are beautiful in all our shades. Like there's literally no mistake. But people are always just like, oh my God, wow. And I'm just like, really, are we still doing this?
Right.
And it's particularly men as well. They're the ones who tend to comment on, like if a woman comments, I find that when women comment on me physically, they may say things like, oh, I love your skin. But when they say they love my skin, like I feel like they're talking about the way I glow, because they tend to say, oh, I love the glow. That's what the kind of things they tend to say. Oh my God, I love the glow of your skin. It's like, or oh my God, your skin is so smooth, is what I hear.
Because I've said that. I agree with that.
Yeah, your skin is so smooth.
Yeah,
I don't.
But I'm not like obsessing over the skin tone.
The skin tone, but the skin tone comments I hear a lot from men. Oh, I love the color of your skin, or the color of your skin, and I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with you? Or they'll talk about light skin, or you hear them in their songs talking about skin, and it's just like, why are you guys so obsessed with that? You don't see that the obsession hate that is a problem. And a lot of times, like the men who don't like the type 4C hair have type 4C hair. They don't like dark skin women, they're dark skin themselves. You know what I mean? Like, it's just constant projection. Like constant projection. What are you like projecting? You're constantly projecting on me, like. Yeah, it's interesting. I'd love for us as a whole, right, to get to the point where we just know better, right? Like idealistically, it'd be great for us to like just know, okay, this is who we are. We need to accept ourselves, both men and women. We need to accept who we are. But one thing about living in this society, right? Black men specifically, are more accepted being brown and darker skinned than women are, right? Because dark skin is looked at as masculine. It's looked at as the opposite of feminine. Therefore, you get a dark skinned woman and she's not
given her femininity. She's not allowed to look like, you don't look at her like you look at a light skin or a white woman. You know what I mean? She's robbed of that because of the shade of her skin. And in that same sentence, just because of the way that dark skin is looked at, the way that they've demonized dark skin and made it everything that's bad and everything that's masculine, a black man can come along and be dark skinned and white women love them, or whoever loves them. You know what I mean? Other women love them. And they are more accepted because they are a man, and people want men to be masculine, whatever that is. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's so unfortunate to me when there are women that I know that are phenomenal beings. Like, you know, this particular girl that I mentioned earlier, like, she's a sweetheart. You know, she's a really good girl. She has great energy. Like, you know what I mean? One of those energies that when I see her, I'm always happy to see her, because she's just sweet and she's sincere, you know? One of those people that ask how you're doing and they really mean it. Like, how you doing? You know? Yeah. But it's unfortunate that that's the way she's internalized that energy, and that it's a projection of how she feels about herself. You know, you don't feel like you're good enough because you don't feel like they'll choose you. And who cares? Who cares how anybody else feels about you, as long as you're happy? But the reality is you're not happy within yourself, because you've taken on these beliefs and you believe them. You know, that means that you're looking at somebody else with different skin or different hair, or, you know, different work that they've gotten done to their body or whatever, and you feel like they're better than you, you know? For me in particular, like, I'll never forget when I went on my hair journey. It was monumental for me, because I always hated my hair before that. I didn't know how to do my hair. Definitely didn't know how to do natural hair. I know how to do European hair because I kept a sew-in. And I loved my sew-ins. You couldn't tell me nothing with my sew-ins. I was fly, I looked good. And when I would take it out and I would see my hair just looking crazy, I was like, oh, let me get my sew-in back in. You know, I need to look good. And it took me to say, why do you feel like that about yourself when you don't have your weave in, if this is how your hair actually looks? So I had to force myself, even though I hated it. I felt so insecure so many times. I had to force myself to go through that, to try to teach myself to love myself. Now, that doesn't mean that my hair doesn't sometimes get on my nerves. It doesn't mean that I don't have a day where I'm like, my hair is not cooperating right now. Yeah. But I now know that is still me. And a lot of the guys I dated prior to me embracing my natural hair, they liked sew-ins and they liked straight hair, and they suppressed even when I first went natural, I would press my hair a lot. Damaged it too, still damaged it, so I had to keep starting over. But they used to like straight hair, or they liked my long sew-ins. And the moment I decided to wear and embrace and love my natural hair, all the guys that approached me love my natural hair.
Right.
I'm like, I never knew that. I never knew they would have liked my natural hair. But when I first went natural, the energy that I got, people were picking up on my own insecurities. You know what I mean? People picked up on that energy. But when you love yourself, you attract that. If you a chocolate woman, if you a dark skinned woman, if you have 4C hair, if you have, you know, not the status quo body type or whatever it is, and you embrace yourself and you love yourself, people who sincerely value you will be the ones that you connect with. Because if you are being yourself unapologetically, when you meet people, those people are in your life with you being and existing as you are. So you get to make those sincere connections instead of you, like me, trying to cover up my hair. And then, of course, the guys I'm meeting like that, because that's how they've met me. They've met me with this mask on, essentially. You know what I mean? So, you know, you embrace yourself, because you don't want people around you like that anyway. You don't want to be, whether it's friends with somebody or have romantic relationships with people that like these surface level things that really do not matter. You know, I get it. We live in this world, and society has programmed us to think, you know, all kind of things that are not true. But you don't have to accept that. You don't have to accept that. And it's unfortunate that it's still today revolutionary to accept yourself as you are. And I think that is like, I think it's absurd. And I think that we have to start really standing up for that a lot more in accepting ourselves and accepting other people. Got a lot of work to do.
Bro, you've said it all. No, seriously, man. Just accepting other people. You know, I find that society in general just find it so difficult to accept people and allow people to be. And, you know, I get that everybody has different... What do they say? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Beauty is a subjective thing. But I just think that if you see ugly in everything, that's a reflection of inside you, because there's beauty in everything. So when you see people, why do or the difference, why does the difference make you feel like yuck? And also as well, we're not even, when I say the difference, like, I guess the media as it is now is whitewashed in a way to look like we are other, and we are the anomaly when really we're the originals, and we are the authentic originals. You know, we are what is the norm, quote unquote, if there was ever such a thing as a norm. You know, but obviously now everything's been repackaged and sold to us as if to say we're not the norm. The others are the norm, and then we're different, you know. But you're not, you're the standard. You know, like I like to say, like your standard of beauty is your beauty. You are your standard of beauty. You don't have to be like anybody else's standard of beauty. You know, and like Jazz said as well, once you start to accept yourself, you just feel amazing. Even me, when I went on my journey, God, I felt horrific. Felt terrible. But again, I started to realize that, you know, I attracted people who were attracted to me for me, not me with the mask, not insecure tests. You know, before I would attract people who would make stupid comments about, you know, my natural hair or how I looked or whatever, because they were, like Jazz was saying earlier, they're picking up on that insecurity. But now it's quite clear that I don't have that insecurity. Well, it's still there, you know, nobody's like completely perfect in their journey, but I don't attract people who make those ridiculous comments now, because I think my aura radiates something different.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think that when people meet me or they're around me, they kind of see,
which is powerful.
So it now encourages, you know, I don't get that negative, but that started with me. It started with myself. I had to learn to truly love and value myself and decide that, you know what, I want to be the best version of me. I don't want to be the best version of anybody else. I don't want to look like anybody else. I don't care. I want to look like me, just me, my best healthy self. And that's enough for me. And I'm perfect in that way. I know God made no mistakes on me. I know that I'm magnificent and stunning in that way. And I just started showing up like that. I don't care. You know what I mean? And that radiates your light even more. Like, I know it's difficult, but seriously, you are so beautiful. And that your skin, that skin is magic. They are constantly trying to recreate your melanin right now. Like, it is so powerful and magnificent. It's what makes you so unique. So to hate the very thing that makes you magical, like, oh my God. So many things make you magical, obviously, but you know what I mean? Like, ladies, I'm telling you, we need to stop feeling so insecure and worthless as a result of our magnificent, powerful skin. Like, in this day and age as well, come on, our skin is phenomenal. We have got to know that. And yes, there will be men who look at you and go, oh no, I don't want that. That is their business. You do not want a man like that either. You do not want a man like that either. You do not want a friend like that. You do not want an auntie like that. You do not want a sibling like that even. Anybody who makes derogatory comments about your physical appearance, about your skin in particular, or anything, you don't want that. Instead of internalizing their hate, send it back to them and pump up your chest even more. Don't internalize it. It does not belong to you. Send it back to sender. No, thank you. Because, I mean, life is way too short, and we are waking up. We are realizing that people have lied to us. You know, it's not how it is. I'm actually great. I'm going to bask in my greatness, because life is way too short to spend your time depressed and sad and hating yourself because of society. Listen, and you're never going to find your tribe as well if you don't show up as yourself. Just start showing up as yourself and you will find your tribe. Right. Period. But if you don't show up as yourself, you cannot find them. You can't, you know? So yeah, man. I feel like I got all, but I just feel like I just want us to love ourselves, you know, especially as women, because we're just so divine. And sometimes I see us, yeah, and I'm like, God, no wonder the man them been losing their motherfucking minds. Because seriously, yeah. No, because I don't see men, and I'm like, oh my God, women tend to don't see men, and you know, women are a work of art. We are phenomenal beings, like not even just physically, yes, but just in general, we're just phenomenal ethereal goddesses. You know what I mean? Our ability to just the way we are is fantastic. So we need to just radiate that light out. It is time.
Right. That part. You know what I had to go and grab something. I had to go and grab something, bro. You remember the Willie Lynch letter? You remember what the... So I went to grab it, right? Because I was going to just say, guys, go find a copy of the Willie Lynch letter and read it, right? But I decided, no, bump that. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's actually not that long. But I'm going to read a part of his letter written by William Lynch.
Who was a slave owner, by the way. Massive. Owned a lot of slaves.
Yeah, slave owner. This speech was given on the bank of the James River in 1712. White slave owner. So he introduces himself, and basically he starts the letter off by saying that the reason why he's given this speech is because, you know, slaves were big business. You know, it was the first stock on the stock market. And he was like, you guys are just killing your slaves anyhow, like, you know, right? But you don't have to kill as many if you can break their mind down. You can get them to do what you want to do. So you're wasting money. That's labor. That's one man you're short of labor, you know, or another woman that could be reproducing more slaves for you. So instead of wasting your money on your investment, just you need to reprogram their mind. Now, granted, there's going to be some that you have to use to make examples of, right? To instill the fear in others. But he goes on to say, in my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, installed like programming, it's crazy. Yeah. It will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple, and any member of your family or your overseers can use it. I've outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and I make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple list of differences and think about them. The top of my list is age. And he said the second is color or the shades. Intelligence, sex, size, the size of the plantations, the status on the plantations, whether the slave lived in a valley, if he lived in the east, west, north, or south, have fine hair, coarse hair, is tall, short. Now that you have a list of differences for examples, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and that envy is stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds or even thousands of years. So don't forget, you must pitch the old male versus the young male, the older woman versus the younger woman, the darker skinned versus the lighter skinned, the male versus the female. You must also have your white servants and overseers instill this and use these methods as well. Your children and all of your loved ones can use these methods. You want to give certain slaves privileges while not giving other slaves privileges. Like maybe you would take a lighter skinned slave and give them certain privileges over the other slaves, and even give them rewards for telling on the other slaves. Or you would tell them that you are more beautiful, and because you're more beautiful, I'm gonna let you work in the house, even though you're still a slave. You know, it's because your skin is lighter. And then that goes back to the brown paper bag method. So, I think it's it's disgusting that they have manipulated our minds so many years ago, and still today we allow it to dictate the way that we treat and see our people. Even something as simple as our beauty. Yeah. Like it's like really deep to me, because think about that. This was 1712. Obviously we've been having those issues, self-refueling, like you said.
Yeah, they are very calculated.
Oh my goodness.
They're in the business of the mind. You know, that's the biggest thing that they're in. And you know, they do so much to us anyway, you know, like physically. But I think that the biggest win is the mind. You know, they do so much to our minds, like to ensure that our minds are perpetually like removed from who we truly are. You know, like our minds are filled with so much trauma and self-hate, and they work on it constantly, from the constant shoving of their beauty standards down our throats, whether it's via the media, you know, all kinds of media, TV, movies, entertainers, everything. Like their beauty, they work very hard to make us believe that our beauty standards or how we are is not good enough, that we have to be as close as possible to them. So, and it's unfortunate because a lot of us are not aware of the programming. We've kind of just forgotten what has happened to us and what is happening, you know. And then because you know, I'll hear us talk about colorism within the community as well. I hear it a lot, and it blows my mind how we ignore the root cause of colorism. You cannot ignore the root cause of colorism. If you ignore the root cause of colorism, you are not healing. You can't heal properly, because you're not understanding what's happening to you. So if you stop at the black community and be like, because, black people, you know, I hear a lot of black people say that to me, actually, that, you know, they faced more racism in the black community than they have from white people. I hear that a lot. And they're like, well, you know, black people are always talking about my skin color. This is dark skin people, because, you know, we're obsessed with skin color. We're obsessed with skin color because of what's been done to us, and because we've been taught that the closer you are to whiteness, it's just the more privileged you are. And white people treat you like that. Society has tried to treat you like that. So we're obsessed with that notion. So when we see dark skinned people, we just, you know, we make ridiculous comments to each other constantly. But I'm like, you're missing the point. The root cause of it is because we're an attacked and oppressed people. And we're behaving like that because we've been indoctrinated. So when you further perpetuate the hate by saying, you know, because it's painful when your own community rejects you, or you feel like your community is rejecting you. It's very painful. Right. You know, we can't dismiss that. But you have to understand the root cause. How do you have so much vim for your community, but not the cause of it? If you ignore the cause of it, you're doing what they wanted you to do. This is what Willie Lynch said. You distrust your own. You're going to envy your own. You know what I mean? You're going to only respect and adore your oppressor. So when you ignore the fact that these are the people, it's their standards, they did this so that we could hate each other, so that we could hate ourselves and hate each other. When you now perpetuate this, when you now speak about this, the very real colorism that you're experiencing, and you focus solely on the fact that, you know, you're receiving it from the black community, and you're not understanding why people within the community are saying things like this, and it's as a result of indoctrination and programming, then it's just the same cycle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then it's just the same cycle. Like, we're just going around, we're not healing. You know, once you realize where it comes from, then you can heal yourself. You can even look at them with pity, like, my God. Then you won't even take what they're saying so personal. You know, I don't know, you might, because it's hurtful still, you know, but you will understand why they're saying what they're saying, and see that they're saying what they're saying because it comes from a place of hurt, not because of your lack or because of your worthlessness, because you're not worthless. You're very worthy, and you're not lacking. You're full. You're a full human being. Yeah. You know, the problem is with their reasoning, and when you realize that the problem is with their reasoning, then you can't beat yourself up about it. And obviously, I know that it's easier said than done. I know that it's easier said than done, but these are the steps that we have to take to heal ourselves, you know. I always say, like, our healing, group healing is good, but ultimately your healing is down to you. Nobody can walk your journey but you, you know. So, yeah.
That was powerful. That was a powerful way to wrap that. Ladies, on that note, I'm just going to say this. Embrace yourself, girl. Guys, too. You know, as a community, we need to embrace ourselves. Whenever I see people that have that mindset now, I feel so bad because I'm on my journey. And everybody from the time that you're born will try to make you feel like you're less than. And you don't have to accept that. You don't have to accept that. You don't have to care about what society's standards are. And like you said, it is painful when you're rejected. It is extremely painful. And it can be triggering, especially if you've experienced it throughout your life, throughout childhood. But on the other side of that pain is so much beauty and peace and happiness once you've accepted yourself. And I think it's about time that we do that. So I never miss an opportunity to tell another Black woman, you know, how dope or how beautiful she is or how fly she is. Especially if a Black woman if we're having those kind of conversations, you know, I'm like, girl, are we talking about the same thing here? Because what I see is not the same. Like, do you see what I see? You know what I mean? Like, I never miss an opportunity because I know where it's coming from. It's trauma. And it really is as a result of our oppression. So how you fight that is by loving yourself unconditionally. You got to start every day. Whether you got to affirm yourself, tell yourself that you love yourself, look at the things that you think you don't like about yourself and that the world has beat you up about, and love on it. Speak life into it. The world told you that your hair wasn't good enough. Tell yourself, my hair is beautiful because God made it this way. My Creator made it this way. So it's perfect. Tell yourself that my skin is beautiful and I don't care who likes it and who doesn't because I have to live with this skin the rest of my life. So I might as well embrace it. Tell yourself that I love my body. The only thing you can do to your body, your hair, your skin is love on it and nurture it. Take care of it. If you take care of it, you're going to get the best version that the Creator gave you. You get the best version of your hair, the best version of your body, the best, really, and all of those things will trigger the best version of your mental state too. It'll elevate your mind, right? You know, so, you know, ladies, I think you're beautiful. All skin shades, all skin tones, all hair textures, all body shapes. You are perfect as you are. Embrace it, girl, and accept it. And on that note, ladies, I love you. And I hope y'all tune in next week. Oh, my bad. Follow us on all our platforms. I tried to drop the mic.
The Pow Podcast. The mic said no, 1 second. Yeah.
Right.
Don't catch us. Yeah, the Pow Podcast. Twitter, Instagram.